Open Corridor 4A.dwg, which is available in the Tutorials Drawings folder. The drawing contains an assembly, profile view, and corridor model. Each object is displayed in a separate viewport. The viewport that contains the assembly is active. Click Modify tab Design Panel Corridor. Click Corridor tab Modify Corridor Sections Panel Section Editor. On the Section Editor tab, on the Station Selection panel, in the Select a Station list, select 0 plus 00.00. A cross-section of the corridor at the starting station is displayed. The elevations and offsets are displayed on the grid axis. The cross-section view contains the assembly, as well as the other adjacent objects. At the current station, the offset alignments are represented by vertical green lines, and the existing ground surface is represented by the horizontal red line. The vertical red line in the center of the grid represents the assembly baseline. Profile intersections with the baseline are indicated by markers. Use the Tools on the Section Editor tab to view the corridor sections at each corridor station. Click Go to Previous Station and go to Next Station, or select stations from the Select a Station list. Experiment with the zoom modes. Zoom into the lane on the right-hand side of the assembly. Click Go to Next Station. Zoom to Extents view zooms out to the extents of the assembly, plus the view scale factor. This is the default zoom mode. Zoom to an offset and elevation view remains zoomed in on the current offset and elevation. As you navigate to other sections, the current offset and elevation remains at the center of the viewport. Zoom to a subassembly view remains zoomed in on a selected subassembly. As you navigate to other sections, the selected subassembly remains at the center of the viewport. In the Select a Station list, select 3 plus 00.00. On the View Tools panel, click Zoom to Subassembly. In the Pick Subassembly dialog box, select Daylight, Right. Click OK. The view zooms into the Daylight, Right, subassembly at station 3 plus 00.00. Notice the shape, elevation, and offset of the subassembly. In the Select a Station list, select 9 plus 00.00. The view zooms into the Daylight, Right, subassembly at station 9 plus 00.00. Notice that the shape, elevation, and offset of the subassembly is quite different from station 3 plus 00.00. The subassembly remains at the center of the grid and at the same zoom factor as you navigate to other stations. On the View Tools panel, click Zoom to an offset and elevation. Click Go to Next Station several times. Notice that the offset and elevation values that are displayed on the grid axis do not change. The shape of the Daylight, Right, subassembly changes to reflect how it ties into the existing ground surface. On the View Tools panel, click Zoom to Extents. Click Go to Next Station. The view zooms back out to the extents of the assembly. Modify subassembly properties for a single station. Note: this exercise uses Corridor 4A.dwg from the previous exercise. On the Station Selection panel, in the Select a Station list, select 7 plus 75.00. On the View Tools panel, click Zoom to Subassembly. In the Pick Subassembly dialog box, select Lane, Right. Click OK. On the Corridor Edit Tools panel, toolbar, click Parameter Editor. In the Corridor Parameters dialog box, in the Assembly 1, Tree, under Group 1, expand Lane, Right. Change the width value to 36.0000 foot. Notice that the Override checkbox is automatically selected, which indicates that the design value has been overridden at this station. Click Go to Next Station several times. Notice that for the other stations, the width value is 12.000 foot. The lane subassembly that is displayed in the section view updates in width to reflect the width at the current station. On the Station Selection panel, in the Select a Station list, select 7 plus 75.00. In the Corridor Parameters dialog box, in the Assembly 1, Tree, under Group 1, under Lane, Right, in the Width row, clear the Override checkbox. The Value column displays the same value as the Design Value column. Modify subassembly properties for a range of stations. On the View Tools panel, click Zoom to Extents. On the Station Selection panel, in the Select a Station list, select 4 plus 50.00. Notice that the road is in a shallow cut on one side and deep cut on the other. The criteria set for the Daylight subassembly caused it to use a 6:1 slope on the left side, and a 4:1 slope on the right side. Also notice the superelevation transition of the road. At station 4 plus 50.00, the lanes are relatively flat. Note: for more information about superelevation, see the Applying Superelevation to an Alignment tutorial. On the Station Selection panel, in the Select a Station list, select 7 plus 75.00. In the Corridor Parameters dialog box, in the Assembly 1, Tree, under Group 1, expand Median. Notice that the Centerline Pivot design value is set to pivot about centerline. In the Centerline Pivot row, click the value cell. Select Pivot about inside edge of traveled way. On the Corridor Edit Tools panel, click Apply to a Station Range. In the Apply to a Range of Stations dialog box, notice that Start Station is 7 plus 75.00, which is the current station. For End Station, enter 11 plus 00.00. Click OK. On the Corridor Edit Tools panel, click Update Corridor to update the corridor model. View the corridor section at station 7 plus 75.00 to view the grade at subsequent stations. Click Go to Next Station. Notice that the change you made is visible through station 11 plus 00.00. At station 11 plus 25.00, the centerline pivot value returns to pivot about centerline.